so many lineup changes and not having the right structure, not having the right identity for us with their culture. And we're used to seeing a Boston Celtic team that plays with a certain type of tenacity on the defensive end, a Boston Celtic team that knows their role. And right now, when you watch this team, they don't know their roles.
We can keep it real, right? Boston has struggled massively as of late. During this bad stretch of games, they've been 7-11, placing them with a 15-14 record at the time of this recording. And everybody is talking about the need for a center. They need to trade for a center. Heck, I even made a video talking about a Nikola Vucevic trade. But this isn't their main problem. Injuries to players such as Marcus Smart and then Tatum dealing with symptoms of the virus hasn't helped. But some accountability has to be held towards Danny Ainge. I'm not saying fire him or anything like that, just want to let that be known. So let's break down the weaknesses in this current squad. Now, this critique could easily be changed during the trade deadline if the Boston Celtics really go for any type of 3/4 that is extremely versatile on the offensive end, such as cough cough Harrison Barnes here. But the inability to replace Gordon Hayward has really shown massively in this stretch. Why? Well, here's a rundown of the game tape. When Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are both in the game, Boston really don't have any issues. They're outscoring teams by 8.9 points. That's an impressive stat. And quite frankly, you'd expect that from these two, because they're verging on becoming superstars eventually in this league. But the problem begins once either Tatum or Brown comes off the court. When Brown comes off, the Celtics don't drastically drop off, being outscored by only 1 point. But with Tatum, they're getting outscored by 5.3. And that's the issue. Tatum, regardless of whether you want to believe he's dealing with the symptoms or not, clearly has shown that he needs help at this current moment. And you can't play both Brown and Tatum 40 plus minutes in any regular season game, to be honest. So with Kemba not playing in back-to-backs, don't you think that Gordon Hayward would have made perfect for this role? He has shown throughout his years in Boston that he's able to step up on a higher usage rate when called upon, but at the same time, he's able to play as a fourth guy very efficiently. But here, I just want to make myself very clear. Danny Ainge didn't make a mistake letting Hayward walk. He himself has dealt with injuries, and for somebody wanting at least $30 million a year, with his injury history and age, this could have easily been a Kemba 2.0 situation. But again, the problem here is that you didn't replace him. Danny Ainge in free agency went out and signed basically Tristan Thompson and Jeff Teague, which brings me to my second point. To say that I'm disappointed with Jeff Teague would be a massive understatement to say the least. We gotta keep in mind, this was the same guy who has all-star appearances, could run the offense as a starting point guard very well, and showed last season with the Wolves and a little bit with the Hawks that he can also be a very nice role player off the bench. What the hell happened? Seriously. So far this season, I would argue that Peyton Pritchard, despite being injured for most of the game so far, has showed more encouraging signs off the bench rather than Teague. Like in simplicity, Teague has found a way to be consistently horrible. He's shooting terrible, like 32% from the field isn't going to cut it anywhere. He can't finish in the paint. As of late January, he was finishing 35% of the shots he attempts between 3 and 10 feet. And the only thing that he has statistically done well so far this season has been shooting the 3 with a 42% rate. But even that, his hot start to the season contributed massively to it. Could this be a case such as KCP, where if Celtics fans didn't know about last season, KCP started the season horribly for the Lakers. He couldn't buy a shot to save his life. That's all you gotta know about that. Laker fans wanted him traded, myself included. But as the season progressed, he improved massively, and consistently to the point where the Lakers rewarded him with a new 3-year contract. Could that happen with Jeff Teague? Easily yes, because he has proven to be a quality guard in this league. But that's not my concern here. Jeff Teague's inefficiency and lack of playing time brings me to the third big talking point. I don't care what anybody says about Aaron Nesmith, this should have been an excellent pick, because he was a great shooter coming out of college, and he showed to be a versatile shooter. Basically, more than your typical knockdown shooter, a Buddy Hield type player. But the problem I have is the Celtics don't play their young guys historically, except for ironically Peyton Pritchard, and I'll discuss that shortly. I understand the issues with Nesmith. He isn't the best defender, and it's very apparent to me that his confidence is shattered. But the thing with that, if the Celtics knew they wanted more of an experienced player who can contribute right now, why wouldn't you select a player such as Saddiq Bey, who in his 2 seasons with Villanova showed nothing special, but improved on these key 3-and-D areas that in his freshman season he was already pretty good at. And if you wouldn't want a player such as Saddiq, why not trade down for a player such as Desmond Bane, who spent all 4 years at TCU, proved to be a great shooter, and can play some defense as well. I know hindsight is one thing, but you can't keep repeating this cycle. Pick a young guard or just pick a young player in general. Massive potential, not play him, and then probably get rid of him. Case in point, Romeo Langford, and before Romeo, James Young, and potentially now, Aaron Nesmith. And I even know that Nesmith has started to play well now as of late. But why does it ironically take another rookie who plays in a similar position to allow for Nesmith to get more reps? Like, this pick could have been a serious boost for the Celtics to help them and their stars. But it just goes back to the bigger problem in total as we discussed about. I don't mean to sound too critical, but I just see this as Boston basically wasting an excellent chance of making the finals and potentially even winning it, because they can compete with anybody on any given day. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Until next time, peace.